Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the CX Accelerator Show. What's going on, Erica Marois?
Nate Brown, how are you today?
So good. I have had a great week. I played pickleball with my daughter this morning. My brain is filled with endorphin. How are you?
Doing very well. It's been a great week here, too. The heat of summer is on, but we've had so much fun just living a little bit of a slower pace this summer. How
Good.
about you?
Very nice. Yeah. I was a bachelor all week because my family was in Wisconsin. So they just came back last night. It's funny because that's fun for me. That's fun for like 2 days. I'm like, woo! And then the third day, I'm like, this sucks.
Yeah. You get lonely, right?
I miss my dog. I miss my wife. I miss my kids. So, so I'm very happy to have them back in the home. And, but yeah, school starts for us next week. Stupid. So dumb. And we are recording this on July 17th, everyone. Absolutely bonkers. I don't get it. I don't get it.
What in the world? Is it like a year-round situation?
No, I don't know. But we will not record that episode right now. Maybe a future one. So for those that are new to the podcast, welcome. You might have joined us with the Jenny Dempsey and Debbie S podcast, which was so wonderful. And thank you for all the kind comments on that. And just the feedback that we got was so encouraging to us. So thank you so much for that. Everything that we do through CX Accelerator and through this show is to equip, connect, and encourage CX professionals on every stage of their career journey. So that is what we're looking to do. We've got a very special guest that's going to help us to do that today. But before we go to her, Erica, speaking of career journeys, congratulations.
Oh, thank you, my friend. I am so excited. It's been quite a journey coming back to Informa. I just hit my 2-year anniversary. And as you know, I spent a really long time working in the ICMI community. I think I was there for 6.5 years, and coming back has been a reunion of sorts. And
Wow.
I'm just so grateful to be doing work that I love with amazing humans that I love helping and supporting every single day.
Wow. Well, so Erica, I'm just so happy, and I'm so proud of everything that you've done in this role, and just through a decade of great service to Informa, ICMI, HDI. What is your new title?
I am the head of content and community for our service and experience portfolio.
I just think that's such an intelligent and strategic title. I mean, just the scope of that says a lot. The fact that they're bringing together content strategy with community strategy. What are you most excited about as you enter into this role, Erica?
I am really excited to be able to get more involved in how we design the conference experience for these communities that we serve. Because to your point, I think it makes a lot of sense for content and community to live together. They feed one another, right? My philosophy on community building is how do we do the best job bringing people together to learn and network and grow? And the content and community go hand in hand. So I'm super excited to get in there and figure out how we can be delivering the best experiences at our events and conferences as well as year round. I'm just so pumped.
It's going to be great. And I know that you're just going to help and impact so many people through the even increased scope of influence that you have, Erica. So congratulations again.
Well, you're too kind. I appreciate it, Nate. I couldn't do this work without you. So really excited too to team up with you on the main stage at
Yes.
ICMI's Contact Center Expo this fall.
Yeah, be there in October for ICMI Expo. It's my personal favorite week of the year, and me and Erica get to tag team and co-host the event this year, which is going to be so fun.
Yes, breaking news. You heard it here on the CX Accelerator Show.
Apparently, folks like us together, Erica, so we're going to double down on it. Here we go. There was
the PB&J of the contact center world, right?
One more announcement of sorts before we dive into our guest. We have our own CX Accelerator event that we're going to do on October 6th. It is for International CX Day. We are partnered up with the CXPA this year, which we're so excited for. We've got 7 great speakers already confirmed to do lightning talks, and you're never going to guess what the topic is. Helping to
What is
grow
it?
CX professionals on every stage of their CX career. Shocker. So it's going to be content, education, celebration, just encouragement. So definitely join us on October 6th, either live in Nashville or we're going to do it as a true simulcast virtual event as well. So join us either way.
Yes. Last year's event was absolutely incredible. And I hear a rumor that this one's going to be even bigger and better. So don't miss it.
We're putting more money behind it. So theoretically, that should mean that it will be bigger and better. We'll see. My ability to execute is the question mark here, but I'm so excited. All right. So we have a very special person today. Her name is Sarah. Her last name is Caminiti. Did I pronounce that correctly? Okay. She blew us all away. Gosh, what was it, like 2 years ago? Sarah kind of burst onto the scene, at least to me, kind of out of nowhere, and has just been all over the place as such a gifted speaker and content creator, podcaster, so many amazing things. You met Sarah during a panel. Is that right, Erica?
Well, I think we officially met in person last year. And then earlier this year in the spring, I had the absolute honor of moderating a panel about career growth that Sarah was on and was
Perfect.
just blown away by the response that we got from that audience. People were coming up to the front of the room afterwards, just wanting to soak up more of Sarah's brilliance. People were
Awesome.
sliding into her DMs and to my DMs after, and they wanted to keep this conversation going. So we're going to give the
It's
people what they
going.
want today, and we're going to dive in a little bit deeper and get some wisdom from Sarah on career growth. So, Sarah, welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show, Sarah.
Do you guys know how hard it was to be on mute through that entire conversation? I don't know if I'm supposed to let anybody know that I've been here the whole time, but that was torture.
You did it. You nailed it.
You did it.
There's going to probably be a lot of video footage of just me making a lot of hand gestures and facial gestures. You guys kept a straight face, but well done during all of that. But first of all, can't process the whole summer vacation thing, Nate. And also, Erica, I'm so excited for you. This is just like the best news ever. And just my heart is so full. And this is so well deserved for you. And I can't wait to celebrate with you at the soonest moment that we are in the same random expo hall together.
Event season's kicking back off soon. So
That's
thank
right.
you, my friend. I appreciate you.
To your comment about having to wait in the lobby. So I personally practiced at focusing on Erica because our first recording of this show, I had Luke Jameson in my office during the recording, and the dude was literally shaking with excitement to get on camera. He's like sitting here next to me. So that's how we began the show.
That's the kind of energy that you need to have, of just like an explosion of joy.
Yes.
And I could not think of three better people than the three of you to kickstart that party. So I'm
Love
glad to finally be here, and I get to feel the joy on camera, because I get to feel joy with you guys all the time because we hang out
Yes.
as much as possible.
Well,
The
Sarah
feeling's mutual.
has been one of our core leaders inside of CX Accelerator, has done so much through to equip CX professionals on their career journey, but even specifically through CX Accelerator, she runs two of our channels, two of our most popular and successful channels inside of our 6,000 person Slack community. Tell us about those two, Sarah.
Well, it is one of the best gifts that I have, that I get to hang out with such amazing people through CX Accelerator. I'm so honored to get to run the experienced speakers cohort through CX Accelerator. We meet every Thursday. I love to make a worksheet. If you've been to one of my conference talks, you know that to be true. I love a worksheet.
Love a good worksheet.
Yeah, give me an opportunity for a framework and I will do it. And I get to do that every week. In this cohort, and the people that join me every week, it is my favorite hour, and they have just shown so much care and growth, and just, they're important people to spend time with, because they do what they do so well, and they care about others, and they care about this community. And so to do anything to help nudge them and help them realize how incredible they are, that is time well spent for me. And then I also get to run the Good News channel, which is, I'm really trying to make it not just be me all the time talking on there, but it's not really. Everybody loves to share, and it is joy in a bucket
Yeah, it's not just you, it's also Shamil
No.
gardening, which is that's I think everybody's favorite thing right now.
Garden is so good. I just love that he shares all those Uh, so yeah, thank you, Nate, for trusting me with
Yeah.
these important spots that I get to hang out in and celebrate people, because I mean that's what really brings me the most joy, that fills my cup the most. That's what kind of started this whole crazy whirlwind of these last handful of years. Is I get an opportunity to sit across from beautiful people like the two of you, and if I can find windows to remind them of like, holy crap, you guys are doing some incredible things. It may seem like it's mundane, it may seem like it's small and inconsequential, but no, like that
Yeah.
is incredible that you do it, and you do it so well and with so much care. And so to get to do that on Slack with the Good News Channel and with the experienced speakers cohort, I'm pretty lucky.
Well,
My
Sarah,
favorite go ahead, Erica, I'm sorry.
I was going to say that is clearly your gift. And one of the things that I've loved most about watching people go through that speakers cohort is just witnessing them really leaning into and embracing their strengths. And the way that you've helped them tap into those strengths is such a beautiful, powerful thing. The
Wow.
confidence exudes from that group. And it really tees up the conversation that we want to have with you today so perfectly, because we were chatting about this on the panel in the spring, but it's this concept of how you can kind of own the future of your career while also owning what it is that makes you uniquely you. So what advice do you have for someone who's looking to grow or take the next step in their career without having to try to be everything to everyone or bend to be who they think they need to be for that room that they're in?
Ugh, I this has been such a personal journey for me, which is why it's so much fun to talk about, because I mean I've lived through it. I have been that person that goes into every interview and tries to be the person that I think they
Oh.
want me to be in order to get the job. And what I kept realizing through that over the years of landing in these companies that don't align with my values, or they don't align with the work that I'm actually really good at, is I've sold them on somebody that doesn't exist.
Hmm.
And so when you are trying to sell yourself in a way that is not actually who you are, when you get there and you think, okay, I'm here now I can be myself, that never ends up working out, because they thought that you were going to be the person that said yes to anything and everything that they said. They thought you were going to be the person that goes nuclear, like one job interview asked me to do, and fire everybody. Could
What?
not hold my tongue on that one. But and so I did not get that job. But like if you did play along, which I'm sure I have in the past, and could have landed in a situation like that, and then they say go nuclear and let everybody go, and you say no, I'm not going to do that. You already told them that you were going to. So what really changed things for me was recognizing the role that I play in this career journey of mine, and giving myself permission to think about what are the environments where I thrive, what are the environments where I stay curious, where I'm supported, what are the requirements for me to feel supported. And as a leader, especially a CX leader, because what we get to do is communicate to so many different people, and everyone communicates differently, everybody learns differently, everyone navigates change differently. As you start to notice, all right, I'm aligned with this type of way, or first I go about it this way. And then people come back with all these different things. So you get to do a lot of testing to figure out, how do you like to communicate? What works well to convey information? And so when you're thinking about your journey, when you're thinking about finding a place that fits for you, spend some time, maybe working on some worksheets, defining what it is that makes you great. Because there are many, many things that make you great. And I love to leverage like a Claude or a Chat GPT to take those great things and get statistics as to why they bring value to a company. Because they have done studies on anything and everything, and you would be surprised at the results for a lot of these ones that are related to psychological safety, that are related to what happens when you are a little bit overstaffed. How does your team thrive in those environments, or does it actually reduce productivity? It never reduces productivity. But then you can start to gain that confidence. And I think that's what we see a lot with the experienced speakers cohort as well. It's like you are getting all this data to support these things that you've known deep down that your gut has been telling you for a long time, but you haven't really given it air to breathe because, it wasn't the stereotypical stuff that you think needs to be at the top of your resume or at the top of your talking points or even a speaker proposal. But the reality is there's all of this data to support why this matters and why people that go about life in these many different ways do incredible things. And when you start to celebrate yourself, you start to step into those rooms with more ease, with more authority. You're a little bit bolder than you once were, and you're no longer selling a version of yourself that doesn't exist. And also when you do that, you're saying that the person that does exist isn't worthy of being sold in these environments. And so once you do start showing up as your true self, once you do start seeing how cool you are and how much you have to offer and how great your skill sets are, you will start to attract those people that see you for you and want more of it.
Yeah.
And that's when you land those jobs or find yourselves in communities like this one here, where you feel at peace and you feel that joy. And that's not something that's selfish to want at all.
No. When you change the story that you're telling yourself about yourself, it changes the way you show up for others. And Nate and I were chatting with Debbie and Jenny about this exact topic on their podcast about the power of energy. We all bring energy into a room, whether you are intentional about it or not, are two different stories. Nate, I saw you nodding along, and I feel like you definitely can relate to that one.
Yeah, I'm still kind of reeling from my discovery that I'm an omnivert, which is like a bit of a monster. but anyway, I'm working on that. But yeah, so what was popping in my mind as you were saying that, Sarah, I mean, the candidate experience has shifted so much, and I've just heard horror story after horror story of people that are going through the traditional candidate process and getting absolutely nowhere. And we talked to Wendy about that pod's going to release soon. And I actually had the opportunity to do some coaching with somebody a couple weeks ago, and we plopped down at lunch, and the guy goes, "I just want to help people," and I'm sitting there waiting for the next line, and I feel like, and then I kind of had a flashback. I was like, I remember saying that in the past too, and feeling like that was like a statement that mattered, and then all of a sudden I'm looking at this guy, and I'm like, that's the most shallow, meaningless statement I've ever heard. But then I'm sitting there wondering, when did that become such a shallow statement to me? Like, why? And then I'm realizing what I expect him to say is, yeah, it's cool helping people. Here's what I do to help people. Here's the problem I solve better than anybody else. Here's who I'm looking to be able to help. And here's my methodology to bring them through this process and guide them to success. Like I'm expecting him to say all these things, and he's not there yet. So then it was like obvious what I get to help him to do, to fill in all these gaps in terms of, okay, here's how you help people specifically, and be able to use your gifts and work inside your sweet spot. But it was just such a weird wake up call for me, Sarah, when all of a sudden I realized that my expectation had grown, that somebody would understand all of that about themselves. That's not always the case.
No, it's not always the case. And I think it's also worth noting, like, action speaking louder than words is really where we're at right now as a society, like, because we're surrounded by words all the time. You go on LinkedIn and you see everybody and everything talking about all this stuff. We don't actually know if any of these people ever did any of the stuff they said. People are you hope for the best, but I mean, I've made up statistics from different things
Sarah.
that I've done before. I mean, come on, I'm not gonna pretend like I'm not one of those folks.
Jeff Toyster, we need you. Whenever
We're
somebody
calling Jeff
tries to
Toyster.
make up a stat, Toyster shows up and he's ready.
Gotta have some of those folks in your corner to keep you in check.
Uh-huh.
But being able to, it's not like you're just grabbing a couple of people that are applying for a job that all live in your community and you can have a conversation about them because you also have a shared history. You probably have a shared language. There's a little bit more of those actions kind of show themselves in different ways because maybe you played on the same softball team when you were in junior high or something like
Sure.
that. That piece is gone. And so now we have a lot of noise. We have a lot of noise of people that are trying to figure out what do people want to take in for words? What do they connect with? Does this mean something? Is it going to drive a conversation? Is it going to be a conversation that gets them an interview for their next job? Because also with that, as I'm sure both of you know, like you can't just apply to jobs
Nope.
anymore. Like
Nope.
you really, the only way you can get an interview is through a referral, which means that you have to have a network, which means that not only do you have to be able to articulate what it is that you do, but you have to have the actions behind it because your network is ideally surrounding themselves with you, like in a way that they could probably feel whether or not you're legit. And if they're going to be referring you to someone, that's something that matters for them on their end too. Like they need to be able to stand behind you. And so like you can't say something like I like to help people because as a community, as a people, like we're not going to ask questions really about that anymore. We're not really going to ask people to tell me more, tell me more. Like if you don't know how to sell that piece, if you think this is
Yeah.
important enough for you to start the conversation with, but you don't have the confidence or the words or the language to then be able to take me on this journey and prove that this is not just a LinkedIn post that you're going to be spewing out there, then I've got 10,000 other people and I got to talk to 10,000 other people. And so like I got to know who you are and I need to know that you know who you are for this job, which does make it tricky when people are looking to do a pivot in their career or
Yeah.
entry level jobs when you're not supposed to know how to articulate yourself. It took me until I was probably 35 before I was really able to articulate the stuff that I do. And don't get me wrong, I had great job titles by then. I had great, like, my career looked wonderful on paper, but I could not talk with confidence about the work that I did. And so like if you are somebody that's navigating this terrible job market, remember, the rejections really have nothing to do with you. Like it is just a saturated market and there are hyper specific things and keywords that people are looking for. The best thing that you can do for yourself is to grow your network. It's to make those friendships and those connections, leverage mentorship, leverage places like CX Accelerator to be curious and learn and look at how people are talking about things because language does matter.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
if you're starting from a foundation where you know we're all talking the same language, then you're actually able to make that conversation travel because you're not spending your 30-minute interview block defining everything and hoping that people are catching on. So if you're paying attention to the language that people are already using,
Mm.
then you can meet them where they are and you can let that conversation develop in a much more organic way.
Well,
Mm. Well, you know, what stands out to me is as you were bringing this up, Nate, and Sarah, as you were chatting, if I had to describe each of you, I would already naturally say that both of you are helpers. And I know that because of the way that you show up in spaces like CX Accelerator. You've already built the brand, so you don't even have to say that you're helpers. People know that. That's your brand. That's your reputation.
and
And
it
I
does
think
seem like that's who's getting jobs right now. Those that are
it
putting
is.
themselves out there in a very specific way. This is what I do. This is who I am. And you're so top of mind. And when an opportunity is out there, they're like, I've got to have Sarah. There's
Yeah.
nobody
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
Nate. And the irony is that with all the talk about AI, I think humanity has never been more important. Human relationships have never been more important.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I know you're passionate about this concept of human in the loop. And I want to know a little bit more about that, Sarah. Like, first of all, what do you mean by that? And how does this all tie into building careers?
Human in the loop, I think, is such an important thing to make sure we're all talking about right now because we have survived that AI moment where everyone was getting fired and then people had their tails between their legs and they started bringing everybody back in because they realized we can't just turn term AI on and expect something. AI is way more than just one thing. It is many things. It's just a blanket statement whenever you say it. But you have to think about who's running this, who's maintaining this, who's keeping an eye on this. You can never blindly trust AI. I mean, we are all probably obsessive ChatGPT and Claude users, and we know what happens when things start to hallucinate. And we're the ones that are monitoring it, so we can flag it in the moment in those chats and those conversations and say, "What the heck are you talking about? That's not something that's ever happened in my life." But what about your customers? What about your customers? What about your customers who are just trying to get an answer and no one's maintaining the knowledge base? And so they're getting outdated information every time. And every time they send that answer out and no one corrects it, your chatbot is validating that that is correct, and it's just going to continue to do it. So you have to think about the people, which is another thing of when you're thinking about what makes you great, what are your areas where you shine. It is not just leadership for career growth anymore. You have knowledge architecture, you have governance and trust, you have content creation and social media, you have community, you have QA, you have automations. All of this exists within CX now. And that is the human in the loop piece. And it's an important conversation to be proud to have, because you're able to address scope creep. And scope creep, I think, is such a threat to people's sanity and perception of their worth.
Wow.
Because if you agree to joining a company and doing XYZ, and then they're like, oh, okay, we also need you to start maintaining this knowledge base on top of everything else. And you're not getting paid more to do this. It's just take this on. We're scrappy people. We're helpers. We're always going to say yes. And then next thing you know, you're trying to figure out how the heck do you navigate this knowledge base like structure. You've never worked in a knowledge base before, but you said you were going to do it. So now you're working until 2 a.m. trying to figure out how do you do this in the best way while also maintaining the queue. So you start to burn out. Or if you start being leveraged in other ways for AI, again, the exact same situation will follow. But with human in the loop, you're saying, I know that there are skilled humans that are required in order for this to work. I'm not going to pretend that everyone in the front line knows how to do this. And I don't want them to, because I hired them to do this and they're very, very good at it. So I want them to focus on this, and I'm going to bring in the humans that are going to be the ones that make sure that this AI tool is being maintained. It's being all of the things that are related to AI in order for it to function correctly, so that our customers don't feel it, our team feels supported, product knows how to get that information across. We're updating all of our knowledge bases on the fly. And then AI is able to operate for what it is, and that is a tool in your tech stack. And humans have to maintain tools. There are people that maintain help desks. There are people that maintain service desks, and that is their full job. Why is it that the CX spots have to be all bundled into one thing? Why can't you find your niche and make your career out of it? Because that's where the careers are going.
Yeah, those specialist roles. I think what is kind of exciting to me about AI is that it's shifting the entire org chart, and it's going to shift even more in the next couple of years. I think we have an opportunity to kind of carve our own paths now. Create a role, raise your hand, and propose a new role for yourself. You can do that.
That's it.
Yeah, and to bring a maybe a term to that to help you to visualize, the future state of what some of those roles could look like, to use a Justin Robbins term, customer interaction leader. So, I mean, there's this convergence that's going on of these different customer facing pieces, and all of them aren't even customer facing. But if you think about ITSM downstairs in the basement using agentic technologies to manage tickets, and then they look upstairs and they're like, "You're doing what with Zendesk?" And they're like, "Hold on, why do we need all this super expensive agentic capability, like doing the same redundant thing?" Is kind of the wake up call that a lot of organizations are having. And then even just systematically and the mentality and the digital ecosystem and how the extension of the digital ecosystem into automated self-service channels is not necessarily being managed by the CX department. A lot of that is happening in IT. So that's a convergence pocket. Then you have this customer success element. Sales is morphing towards more of this maximizing value and earning share of wallet kind of mentality. It's a customer centric function. And then marketing has moved to this very relationship based customer centric marketing model. So it's just amazing how CX is growing. The concept of CX is morphing into this new thing that's very holistic, and it's no longer VOC process management by any means, or a couple, random customer centric transformation projects that generally are rooted in just customer service. It's so much bigger and different than that. So the idea of a customer interaction leader, it's like, wow, let's maximize the value of every customer interaction we can.
Yeah. But I think it's also worth noting that like this new wave that we're moving, thank goodness that this is the new way that we're moving, because customer experience needs to be at the center of every single business decision. And so being able to see all of these other teams starting to kind of join this bandwagon of the relationship, the fact that, hey, these companies only exist because of customers. So we should probably orient ourselves around that that type of mentality. And when you're thinking about like, the opportunities for career growth and expansion, the companies have to want to invest. And that's what's going to make or break a lot of these companies. And the customers are going to feel whether or not they are investing in CX.
Mhm.
Because if you decide, okay, this is a new role that we don't really like, we've never done this before, we're going to do this as cheaply as possible, that means you're not getting an expert. You're just probably taking a frontline person and telling them to figure it out. And I'm sure that they will do an incredible job, because frontline workers are the hardest working people that you will ever meet. But that's a lot of pressure on them
Yeah.
to figure something out. That's not very fair to them. They're not being compensated more than likely to in a way that correlates to the output that they're producing. So you have to be committed to doing it right, because we've seen for so long what happens when you cut corners. And what happens when you cut corners is you just have a lot of band-aids, and those band-aids start to fall off, and those cracks are really, really hard to fix. So if you are leading organizations, if you are thinking about the future of CX, you have to have a real conversation with yourself, with your PE teams, with your VCs, with anyone that is going to help you move to this new stage of customer experience, and how it is the actual differentiator, because your customers will feel every single crack, because your customers are customers in many different spaces. They have felt what good feels like at least once. And just like any human being, once you feel what good feels like, once you feel what joy, what feels like to be valued, what all of these things that we kind of just think of as nice to haves, but they are actual like requirements when you think about sticking around something. Like if you feel valued, if you feel heard, if you feel supported, you will let some cracks slide. You will give people grace. You will stick. You won't churn so fast. But if you don't feel it, and they're trying to convince you that you do, and there's 5 other companies that are doing the same exact thing, you're going to start testing the waters. You might stay with with the place that you're paying your subscription to for the next 6 months, but you probably have free trials at all the other ones. And
Mhm.
and you will leave because you don't feel it. And so
Mm.
investing is the only way that your customers are going to give you that grace.
It's so true. So I'm curious, Sarah, from your experience, what do you do if you are an employee working in one of these orgs and you feel like senior leadership doesn't get it? What do you do? How do you make the case, or do you leave? What's your advice?
I think that you have to you have to think about, do you feel value? You have to have that conversation with yourself a lot when you're working for a company, because they don't owe you anything other than what it is you've signed up for on the dotted line. You don't owe them anything other than what it is that you signed up for on the dotted line. And if you aren't feeling like those things are holding it together anymore, then that's usually a good indicator that this may not be the best fit. That doesn't mean that things can't change, but give yourself permission to think, is this the best fit for me anymore? Which is a scary and vulnerable question, even when you're just asking it to yourself or to Chat GPT. So start there. But
Yeah.
when you are working for an organization where you're feeling like, I have to prove this, I have to make them see this because it's so obvious. It's so obvious that we have to do this. I know I'll be able to prove it. I think you have to remember you can only do so much. It is not necessarily that you have failed in articulating the need for this. It is more than likely things that are much, much, much farther outside of your control. So do your best, give it a try. And if the results are ambiguous, if it's dismissive, if it just doesn't sit right, or if they're transparent and they tell you this is just not something we have in the budget, and I don't think we're going to have this in the budget for a while, then you have to decide, is this the best fit for me anymore? Is this where I'm going to have a career that I'm excited to continue to explore and grow within? And why not start to get free trials elsewhere? Like if you were a customer, like start dipping your toes in the water, start talking to your peers in your network, start seeing like, is this even the right kind of job for me anymore? A lot of the conversations I have with folks that I mentor are, okay, I found myself here. I started on the front lines and I started working my way up, and now I'm here. I don't know if I'm supposed to be here. This is just kind of where I ended up. Do I have a chance to pivot? Do I have a chance to start to think like, if I focus on this, like that mentality that the only way up is leadership, you know, no, like not everybody is supposed to be a leader, and that is a good thing. That is
Yeah.
a good thing. That is not a slight against you if that is not your area of expertise. Figure out what your area of expertise is. Does it exist within the space you currently are in? Do you feel like you're being compensated in a way that aligns with the work that you're producing or the places that you want to go? And then start looking around. And if you have a job, you're in a really good position to take your time. I mean, it's taken me 2.5 years once to get out of a company that I was desperately trying to leave. But but the more firm you are and what you can offer and why this job aligns with what it is that you want to offer, and if you enter into those interviews a little bit bolder than you usually are to test the waters and see, if I disagree, what do they do? If I negotiate my salary, what do they do? Then you get to see like what happens. Why not?
Sarah's a pot stirrer in
Yeah.
a good way.
I've gotten myself
Good.
into trouble a couple of times, but it's okay. People have found great jobs afterwards.
That's right. Let's just say hypothetically, Sarah, there's a man who is a CX industry person who has created content and runs a nonprofit and things. He really wants to be the MC on a cruise boat and have a Beach Boys cover band called the Good Vibrations and teach pickleball on a cruise ship. How would said person move towards that?
This is not hyper specific at all, and I have no clue who this could possibly be. Talking about this, about
I think I know a guy.
been thinking about this one
Little
for a while.
lost on the path.
But for this hypothetical human being that definitely does not exist in this current recording studio, I would tell that person, take a look at your incredible network and start to see
True.
who was out there. Like I was talking with somebody about, remember that whole story about the paperclip bartering situation? Like, think about it like that, because that's really what networking is in the grand scheme of things. Like, you say, okay, I've got this. Can I trade? with somebody else. Hey, you know somebody that has a niece that works in at a cruise ship? Okay, well, hey, why don't I give you 2 hours of coaching for this? If you can see, does your niece know anybody that is in this? And then trade that paperclip. Just start bartering, and that's how you can start to see, is this a pipe dream? Is this a grass is greener on the other side? Or if I get on a call with these cruise ship folks who just so happen to also have this cover band right at their disposal, like, do we just start talking to each other like we've known each other for the last 15 years and it's effortless? Because those conversations exist more often than you think that they do, and that's a good sign.
It's the
Thank you.
network and relationships again. By the way, Nate, tell this mystery man that I know someone at MSC Cruises.
Oh
So
my goodness.
throw that out there.
Paperclip out, my friend.
I'll let them know. I got a paperclip hot in my pocket right now. Well, one point on that, Erica, I think that's a great question. And I think about a moment in my career where I was morphing from a customer service leader into what was a CX person. And I didn't know what that looked like. And I was on a process of discovery inside of a great organization, but I had a boss that did not get it. And we had a come to Jesus where he's sitting there and he's just frustrated. I am so excited because I am learning and growing and helping the organization in these new ways. And he's a little angry. He's like, dude, are you going to focus on your job or are you going to go play around with this other stuff? And at first I was like, yeah, man, I'm way out of line. And then a couple days later, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. No, like this guy should be so excited that we're finding new pathways to do our work way better. Just because he doesn't understand it today doesn't mean that he should be holding me back from this evolution that's now taking place. And so I'm not suggesting this, but like I gained allies everywhere, all around. And I'm talking peer to peer level was actually where I gained the most success. And we started a grassroots CX program in that business that made a huge difference, to the point where that then became a true role. And I took ownership of a new CX function.
Yeah, we all need allies, right? To succeed
Yeah.
in anything in life. And I think passion and confidence can be very threatening to people that are not confident in themselves.
Good point.
And that doesn't mean that you're doing the wrong thing.
Wow.
No, I
Interesting.
mean, it's you go back to the 3 questions that I started asking myself, so I could like give myself some grace when I left rooms that would usually make me overthink and spiral. And it's, was I respectful? Was I curious? Was I kind? If I can
Interesting.
answer those 3 questions, then I have shown up in a way that I am proud of. And anything that happens after this, if it didn't land well, if there was something that was ambiguous, that is not on me to chase. That is not on me to temperature check with these folks. We are all adults. If we cannot communicate that that something could have been handled differently or communicated better, or if you're still not sure about the outcome of a conversation, it's on the other person to come to you and ask. Don't carry that weight with you, because that is a heavy thing to carry.
Those are convicting questions because I cannot control my face.
Well, that's why you have the camera on and off button, Nate.
This is a live meeting, Sarah, and I have had problems
No poker
in my
face for
career.
Nate.
There is a very bad, and I cannot answer the question, was I kind and polite always with the correct answer because of my expressions.
Well, that's okay. Then you might have something to work on, but I also do not have a poker face at all. I have been on a panel before where someone in the audience started saying something that I did not agree with, and I just put I put my head down and I just keep whispering to myself, no. But I still was able to ask myself those questions, and I feel like I could say yes to all 3.
Well done.
I don't know if the person in the audience that could see me painfully saying no to myself over and over again feels aligned in that, but that's okay.
Yes. Well, Sarah, we hope that you have a delightful time in Martha's Vineyard.
Yes.
Yes, we do. I'm so jealous.
She's
Let's
about to
see if
leave
I can
on
see
that.
the Obamas. I need to manifest this with my book fanny pack that you guys missed Erica and I talking about before this podcast started.
Yeah,
I'll put pictures in Good News. Don't worry.
Okay.
I'll be stalking the Good News channel and CX Accelerator all weekend long.
Wow.
Thank you.
I mean, if Vanya can meet Shaq, there's no reason in the world, Sarah, that you can't meet the Obamas.
Right?
You know what?
We're putting it out there in the universe.
I'm going to put that on a t-shirt and I'm going to wear that t-shirt when I trip and fall outside of the Obama's estate. You have to let me in.
Well, we're so grateful to you, Sarah, for all the many things that you're doing through CX Accelerator and well beyond, through the Career Strategist, through all your various resources. If you're not following Sarah on LinkedIn and in CX Accelerator, absolutely do that. Erica, as we wrap up today, any closing thoughts from you?
I just hope everyone out there is encouraged by Sarah's incredible advice today. I would just say be you, own your strengths, and you can't control other people's reactions. Love that advice from you, Sarah. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much. This is the best way to start my day.
Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for following along. These experiences matter, and so do the people who make them. We'll catch you on the next episode. See you soon.